Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Cardcraft. Thanks for joining me again. Well, sitting here doing up some more of these tonight and I thought I'd bring you along for the ride. What I'm doing is painting with my distress inks. I do this a lot and I was sitting here, I'd been doing more earlier in the week, went to do some more up tonight, thought, don't know if everybody knows how to paint with their distress inks, use them as colouring in pencils, paints, etc. So I thought I'd bring you along for the ride just while I'm working on this again. What I'm using, look at this. This is a new stamp from Close to My Heart. So C1940 Academia Rose. This is the most beautiful stamp. It's one of their new ones. Fell in love with it. So that's it there. Hang on a moment. See what I can turn around here. There. Can you see that? It is just such a beautiful rose. This looks like script. What it actually is dots. Just little dashes and dots all the way around with this beautiful rose. Has some wording down here. I won't use that because I won't be using it on a card. Mine will all go into my journals. But I like stamps like this because you can colour them in and they change. So each time when you use them, you get different colours and they change each time. So there's a very muted one. This is what it looks like when it comes out. That's what I want to do again today, but I'm doing a larger one. So I've already stamped it. As I said, I was pre-working. Thought I'd just pop the video on. So I've stamped it and then stamped it again because what I actually want in this version is this, that bit there. So I'll paint the whole thing. I'll colour the whole thing in and I'll show you what I'm doing with it. But it is a beautiful, beautiful stamp. And I'm sure you've all heard me say before, one of my favourite bits about the Close to My Heart stamps are their little codes. I use these in my journals all the time. If I go into my numbers stamps just over here, we'll get onto this in just a moment. All right, so there's Tim Holtz ones, there's Witchcraft Do You Do ones, and see all these? These are all the little codes that come with the Close to My Heart stamps. There they are here, and they're actually done as a stamp. They work a treat in your journals just to attach to tags and bits and pieces like that. So don't throw anything out. Right, so I'm just going to move all this over. What I'm doing with these is making little shakers. Okay, so like my big one, that'll go onto a page. And I'm probably going to washi that section so that it flicks over because I want this section still in it. That's what that one was about. And then I took it further because it was a new stamp and made a little shaker. What I'm doing at the moment is a shaker with a difference. So what we're going to do is paint. I find when I'm painting these, the smaller ink pads work the best because I can put them on here. Just need my water. They are so simple to paint with. So just any of your brushes. I've just pulled 3 down here. And I'd say that one's still got paint in it from the other day. But that's fine. Okay, not a problem. Move that, make a little bit of room. And then I've got some other colours. I have more colours in my larger ones. But I find for when I'm doing this, my smaller ones work the best. So I'm going to start, what I want are some lighter colours to start with. So I've got milled lavender and I've got tattered rose here. All right, all we're doing when we're doing these, I'm just going to sit you to the side. Undo your ink pad. This is why I like my glass mixed media mat. If you don't have a glass mat, glass chopping board beside you or your silicone sheets. All right, so just get a little bit of ink. You're on there, aren't I? Yep, on here. So I'm going to pop both the tattered rose and the milled lavender on here, side by side. Okay? And then what I'm going to do, is give them just a little bit of squirt of water. Not much. You can see it went everywhere anyway. And then from that, I'm just going to pick this up. And then I'm just going to start painting in here. Because the distress inks are made to react with water, they end up like paints, like pre-mixed watercolour paints anyway. So I'm now just gathering the both of them together because I'm thinking I want a little bit more colour in that. And what I tend to do when I'm doing the flowers is do the entire thing first, and then I'm no artist. I've never been an artist. I can't draw. I can't say that I can paint or anything like that. My grandmother was an artist. I've got an auntie that is an artist. My daughter is a very talented artist. I'm not. That's why I use stamps. But what I can do is colour in. Not perfectly, not beautifully colour matched, but so that it's something that I like. So see how I've got the two colours going through there. So I'm just going to pop some more of these down. So back on with my tattered rose, because I'm going to do the 3 flowers the same. And then I've got abandoned coral, and I've also got Victorian velvet that I like to use with these. A little bit of water again. Doesn't have to be exactly all the way over it, but enough to mix it in. Okay. So just a little bit. You don't need to be ultra perfect. Well, you can if you want to be. I don't tend to be. I just tend to mix them straight through. All right, just a little bit blotchy over this one. Mixing my 2 colours as I'm going because I quite like these 2 colours together. Just play around with your colours. You'll never know what you get until you start to play around with them. So you can see that that's not completely coloured in, but it's enough for what I want. Right, so let's just add. So this one is those 2, the tattered rose and the milled lavender, and then it's a little bit of Victorian velvet as well. I want to put something a little bit brighter with these ones because these ones I'm not doing as a page like that. I want to do them into a tag. So abandoned coral is quite bright. So a little bit of water again. And now I'm just going to pick up around the edges, grab that water, pick up around the edges, and just see how bright that is. I quite like that colour, so we might put a little bit more in there of that with this one. Make a brighter rose. And again, I'm not colouring the whole thing in. I'm making it a bit patchy, just so that I can still see the colours that are going on underneath. Now, I know anyone who paints or is an artist or whatever else out there will say, oh, this shouldn't be the way that it's done. For me, it works. For me, it's stress relief. It's just something that I can sit there and do and not have to worry about being perfect or anything else. And it's just colouring in to a point. Yeah, I think I want that colour for this. So let's just have a look at some other... Oh, lid come off that one. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that one down. Now, that is candied apple. Lid never stays on that one. Pick up some water. Just a very light mix of it. And I'm going to go into those darker spots. So you can see on the... Sorry, I hope my head's not in that. You can see where it shadows down through here, that's where your darkest spots would be anyway, because that's the shadow from where the rose is sitting. That's the only thing I know, that's where my shadow section should be, because it's where the petals all form in together. bit in here. Of course, in there. So I love my distress inks because I can do so much with them. Yeah, quite happy with those colours. So I've given those ones the base coats as well. Now I'm going to go back in with my abandoned coral again and go over those two. That's just a normal little spray bottle. Any sort of spray bottle will work. See, just rough and ready. In I go. I'll fill it out with some other colour shortly into this one. Straight through there. Okay. Now I want to pick up, I've got water sitting here. I can see it glistening, so I just want to pick up a little bit of that, whatever it was, candied apple, and start to put my darker colour in there. I find too that I have a little bit more control doing it this way. And through the years, as I said before, I've been doing paper craft as such for a long, long time. And I've gone through the watercolour pencils, the Copics, the what are some of the other colours? Letraset put out some of the other paints. I've got normal alcohol marker ones. I've got so many different varieties of colouring implements that I keep going back. A while ago, the Distress Inks also came out in pens, which meant you could do a very similar thing. But again, I had to scribble them, add my water. I couldn't double do, I know what I mean, and use the two hands at once. I'd get hit up. That's just how I am. So this way I can just sit there and fiddle as much or as little as I like. Haven't done this one or this one. Missed two. So let's just give that one a little bit extra. I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. Now watch. And my painting is clean. That's the other reason I like it. I don't have paint palettes to clean up later on or anything like that. So that's that milled lavender. A little bit of abandoned coral beside that. And this time we're going to go with those two colours. It's paper. If you're not quite, happy with what you see there, check it out on some scrap paper that you've got sitting around. We've all got it. We've all got scrap paper. So I'm just mixing those two colours together a little bit there to do these ones. And these ones I'll go right in with just abandoned coral at the end to make them really deep. Now I'm painting on, this is just a piece of 49er marker from a paper pack that they had. So it's already got bits across the back of it and all the rest. But I just thought it'd give me something else going on. Now, I just want to pick up that abandoned coral over here where I haven't mixed it. I'm going to just lightly go up there and do the same down in this one because they're my buds that are forming. All right, they're my colour combos. I just put a little bit of colour in each of these. Right, so now I want to do my... Sorry, that's a hideous noise, isn't it? So, doing that up, and I'm going to get a couple of greens. So I've only got one, well, I lie. I have another green, but it's not a green that I really use that often. So I have mowed, it's late here, it's like 11:15 at night. Mowed lawn, but it is Friday night, so it's one of those nights where I just sit at my desk, and I'm out tomorrow. So I thought I'll which is why I was playing with these now. So, and Rustic Wilderness, which was just another green that I had sitting there. So you can see how much harder it is with the bigger ones just to get an area. That's why I like my little ones for painting. So I've just got 2 little dobs of green there. For my leaves, again, I will start with my lighter colour. This is Mowed Lawn. There are lighter ones again. You've got Bundled Sage. You've got Peeled Paint. There are so many different greens in the Distress Ink, Distress Oxide range. I think I've got all of them, but they're all in the big ones. So, excuse me. So we're using Mowed Lawn because it is a smaller one and I don't have to pull everything up on my desk when I'm painting. Some of them I do have both in the large and the small, but yeah, some I just have in the smalls, some I have in the largest. So I've used my lighter colours. Now I'm going to pick up that deeper green, and again I'm going to go down the bottom end. I just want to mix that a little bit with that lighter green because I'm feeling it's a little bit too dark. That's better. Just up into the stems, just to give it a little bit of a, I don't know, an oomph, a real life oomph, if that makes sense. I'm sorry, my head's going in there each time. Late at night, eyes are not seeing as good as they probably should. Missed that bit. Right, stems. So, with my stems, you can see I'm just using the same brush here, by the way. And I grab that really light, and I'm going to put some extra water on there because I just want it really pale. Down into my stems. So it's a really pale green. So that's the same colour, but because I've added water to it, it now looks paler. These little bits around my buds, which is the freshly grown, leaf bit that comes. I'm not a gardener either, you can tell. Strange. That's that. What I want to do now is add some brown. Now, the only small brown I have is ground espresso. I have my brush corduroy there, but we'll play with the ground espresso first. Okay. So, I've got quite a bit of water going on here, and I'm going to mix it in with that ground espresso. Am I still in shot? Yep. Just very lightly. See how I'm browning that up? Can we see that that's all getting deeper now? So let's say I want to put some darker spots in there. Gone down to that bit, and I'm going to pop a bit darker. There's no water on that section there, so it's more straight ink. I need to lift that down, and that's that little bit in where the leaves all attach. Okay, that's the bit that I want. Right, just grab a piece of paper towel and wipe that next section up. As I said, it's not a long one tonight. It was just a quick one because I was doing this and I thought I'd bring you along for it anyway. Because it's one of the things that I've been doing with Distress Inks for so long. And then I was, as I said, doing it again the other night and I thought, I wonder if you guys have actually seen that done. So we'll put you in there. Close you up. I like the little tins that they come in too. They're nice. Right. So what I want and why I want. So my little shakers. Thanks to Close to My Heart again as well. That's this die set. So what it is the 3. You've got the large frame, the square postage stamp type thing, and then the rectangular one. Now, when I first grabbed this, I've got a friend who does Close to My Heart. I will leave her link in the description box as well if you're interested in either of these. If you're in Australia, you can go on her link if you wish to order these, and they will be sent straight to you. I think I've got that right. If you're in the rest of the world, and I know most of you are, just go on to the Close to My Heart close to my heart website. Okay. Now, this one, postage frames, Z4437, and this gorgeous rose is C1940. Okay. When I was playing with these, so my lovely friend Leesa lent me these because I just fell in love with that rose when I saw it in the catalogue. And then I was playing with the dies because she said she'd got the dies and she hadn't had a chance to play with them yet. So I thought, I'll play with them, thinking that they were a full postage stamp. Cut them out to find that they are a frame. Fine. But, and I went, oh, so my mind just toddled in a whole new area. So I sat down, here's one of the ones that I was painting the other night, and I just did a little shaker card with it. So I've cut it out, of course, from the rectangular one. Okay. One of those would be, I've made quite a few of them since. There it is. Because I just fell in love with them. So that's actually the little piece that was on the inside, which now I can't get out. There we go. I've attached acetate to the back of it, to that frame. Now I've just got a little packet of acetate scraps, and they work a treat when I'm doing little tags, pockets, shakers, etc. So I've attached a little piece of acetate to the back of that frame. I've then used foam. Now, check this out. Found this at my local craft store, Create on Ormond. It's a 3mm foam sheet. Now, I've used the, I don't know, the 1.5 before. We've used them before, and that's what I've done to create my stamping mat. This is an actual 3mm. Feels very much like a stamping mat, but it cuts. The thin cuts will cut it. So I've then die cut out this foam sheet to the frame. Looky, looky. There it is. Die cuts beautifully. I was worried it would stretch out of shape, it would flatten. Doesn't. I've then attached my foam. Where's one that's a little bit thinner? This one. Should have die cut out another one of those. Attach my foam to my frame with my acetate between the two. Unfortunately, the thin cuts don't cut the acetate. You might find a really thin acetate that it will. Most acetate it doesn't. I've then filled up the inside of that then with my little sprinkles. Most of them are just my seed beads that I have for my dangles and everything. And I've got a few little micro beads in there as well. I've then attached my painted piece onto the back, and I've got a little shaker card. So that, a larger one, something like this size, I would put on the front of a journal. Beautiful. Something like this would go into a pocket. My daughter liked it so much that she wanted one, and she uses it as like a fidget toy when she's studying for exams. I know. And it has her name through the centre of it there. Should have grabbed it prior, shouldn't I? Oh well. So I've made quite a few of these this week. The one that I wanted to do now, though, which is this one that I'm finishing off. So technically my shaker part is done, and I've just got another piece of this 49 and market. But what I've done at the back is I've created a little pocket. So it's just got a very small concertinaed fold, and I've just used book page along here and along here so that this sits out. So it's got another frame on the back with another piece of acetate so that it is acetate all the way through. Watch. And then I plan to have my tag go down there. So when my tag's out, you see the pretty picture. When my tag is in, it'll have whatever's on my tag. That's what we're doing right now. So that's what this is. So my tag, very quickly, we'll do that. What's the time? 24 minutes. I've got 6 minutes. Planned for this to be like a 30-minute video. So hence why I stamped an extra piece up there. because I'm thinking that I need it to go up there. I just wanted this piece. Make sense? So if I set that so that it's round about straight, and my tag's going to go there. My tag needs to be, wrong one, about 1.5 inches. So if I look at 1.5 inches from there, yes, that covers that. So I can move it right to the end of my leaf. Don't want too much of that other rose in there. That's looking good. So if I go there, I'm just making a mark. And I go down here. I can see those 2 marks. I'm leaving that ruler there. I'm just going to join up those 2 marks. And I'll get my knife. And I'm going to cut straight down there. I will use these in something else. Don't fret. All right, so there's that one. And there's that one. So what I've got now is that. This we're going to trim off so that it's even. I don't know how long I want it just yet, so just bear with me. What I'm doing is putting that line on my grid. And I'll trim that off like that, from one bit to the other. That's the bottom of my tag. But that's what I wanted. So I'm thinking I might take further down from that. Take that a little bit further because I want to see more of my flower in there than just the stem. Straighten that up, Kylie. Take that to about there. We'll have a look now. I don't know how far to cut it up here. If I don't have to cut round that through that rose, I'm not going to. Look at that. That's about right. So yeah, I'm just going to, at this stage, I'm just going to cut just above that rose, or just this side of that rose. If I take my long ruler, can see where I'm going on the mat, can't I? So, where's that rose? Finishes there. Like so. And I'm just going to go from one side to the other. Beautiful. Right, set that one there, that one there. It was just one of those ideas. You know, you get ideas and you go, oh, I wonder if that'll work. Alright, do I want to round my corners? Probably not for the bottom. Could have been a little bit wider. Doesn't need to be quite that tall. I can round the corners on that one, but I just want the small corner rounder. Here we go. This just gives a really small corner. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Oh yeah, that's all right. And I want to put a hole. And we want a hole in that. Oh, my European one's a bit too big, so too small. Straight. Maybe that size I'm thinking. About there. That's about even, isn't it? Kind of even. Kind of even. And we're going to put something in there. So let's have a look at these. Where are you guys? Used to be in there. Not in there anymore. Oh, I've got some raffia here. Hang on, I've got some raffia. Raffia will work, won't it? plain colour raffia. Let's go that one actually. Right. Trim him back later on. So. Let's just go that way. Go that way. Depending on what it was that I was doing would depend on what colour I'm putting through. So if we just go this, because I don't know where I'm putting it yet, I just want to play with it. And then I'll chop that off, because I don't want it that big. And, oh, don't think my scissors are working. So what it is a double shaker, so it's got acetate both sides. Then it's got the backing on it, which I've put the pocket out so that this will go in better. And we've got that. Really could have been smaller, I think. What if I take that down a little bit further, from there to there? See, I don't like that. Should have tested that first, shouldn't I? All right, so we'll trim that off at where that hole is. Am I still in shot, guys? Yep. So I sit you there, take you there, trim that off because that's just a little bit too high for me. My straight dish. It's not the thought that I had in my mind. You know when you get something in your mind? Right, now we'll go again. Which punch was it? That one. Don't think I'm even there. That one. Back with this one. Take two. Because let's face it, it's all only paper and we can do this. Push it back through. And I've hit over my 30 minutes. I'm so sorry. Alright, as I said before, I'll pop in the description box the details to the dies and that stamp, or this stamp, because it's just beautiful. And I'll pop in there the link for Leesa as well. And, but yeah, if you're anywhere else other than Australia, you can just go straight to the Close to My Heart website. That's a better height. How's that? That's really, that's exactly the same stamp. What did I do with my initial one? There, look at that. So, that's that. I've had a ball playing with it. Hand it back tomorrow. How sad. All right, that's that stamp. Which was, as I said before, Academia Rose, not macadamia, Academia. See, I'm still hungry, obviously, at 11:30 at night. C1940, Close to My Heart, and then the little set of 3 dies, or thin cuts, which are postage frames. See, now I never even saw that it said frames. I just looked at it and saw postage stamps. Z4437. I'm glad you've come along with me. I hope, even though I've played with all that, the main point of this was to show you to use your distress inks for things other than just inking around your edges. Okay? Use them for everything you can think of. You'd be surprised what you can use them for. Hope you've all enjoyed that one. I've enjoyed having you along while I've sat here and played with these. And until next time, bye.